And we are live. Welcome to Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best ideas, interviews, and information for today's homemaker. I am Denise Jordan, and on tonight's show, we are going to welcome Kay from the Organized Soprano. She's going to share with us her homemaking journey, tell us a little bit about her adorable fur baby, Clover, and then give us the 411 on home organization, including refrigerator organization. But before we bring Kate on, let me just say that tonight's sponsor is Apron Diva. And pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And tonight, the featured apron is this one. It is the Mommy and Me duo. And as you can see, here's the mommy with two of her little girls really enjoying whatever it is they're about to do. So this little flirty, skirty duo will make the perfect gift for someone you love, or it could be the perfect treat for you and your little one. Order now so you can get it in time for the holidays. And for your information, this older girl is wearing the adult size, and this little girl has on the kid friendly version. And it is for kids from ages about 2 to 6. This little girl is 5. Okay, so now let me stop sharing that. And I'm going to get on back over here to StreamYard. And we're going to get started. So, homemakers and everyone in the chat, I am so glad that you were able to join us tonight. If you are here on the replay, please leave your comments in the comment section. We do love hearing from you. And let's go ahead and bring on Kay. Hello, Kay. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, Denise. Thanks for having me on. This is so much fun.
Well, I hope so. And I have to tell you, the viewers were really excited when I told them that you were going to be on.
That's awesome. No, I'm really looking forward to this. This is right up my alley. I love this.
Well, good. Let me get my iPad ready because I got to make sure that it syncs so that when I'm sharing the screen here, I can see over there to make sure that everyone can see what we're seeing.
Perfect.
Okay, so viewers, if you have any questions, put 4 question marks in front of the questions and 4 question marks at the end of the sentence. And that way it'll help me to see them. And then Mickey Blue Skies can also help me capture the question just in case that I miss it. And then Kay, I'm going to try not to hold you too long. I got my timer set right here for 30 minutes for the first half of the show so that I'll know when to kind of get in. I'm at the halfway point, and then Nikki Blue Skies will also send me a text and say, hey, wrap it up or whatever. So just wanted you to know that. And then in case you guys are wondering why I am dressed as I am, why am I in camo? I'm in boot camp, and I'll tell you more about that later on. But right now, we're going to get started with Kay at the Organized Soprano. But I'm in boot camp with Fly Lady Cat. So,
oh my gosh, we're matching because I have camo on too, but only have covert. It's covert camo. It's on the inside.
Okay, all right. So maybe you're going to get in boot camp as well. We'll just
maybe I'm open to it.
All right. Well, Kay, tell us a little bit about your family. Whenever I have anyone on, the first thing we talk about is their homemaking journey because, of course, we're all trying to do homemaking with purpose. So tell me, how long have you been married? How'd you guys meet? And then a little bit about your life as a homemaker.
Oh my gosh, you asked me how long I've been married, and I was like, how long have we been married? 18, 19, 20, 21. Almost 7 years. So we actually met in 2005 on an app called, it wasn't an app back then, it was a website called eharmony.com. And we dated for 3 months and kind of lost touch with each other, but never forgot about one another. And we hung out a couple times after that, but not really. I got married to someone else, and then subsequently divorced and separated from this person. And it was not a it was we're still friends, it's fine. And then when I was back ready to be in the dating pool, I was on OkCupid, and I was like, just wanted to see what was out there. And I was scrolling through my matches one evening, and I said, that I dated that guy before. I recognize that guy. I dated him before. And I sent him a message, and we've been together ever since. So we were
Two
matched on two
matches.
different websites with two different algorithms. So it must have been in the cards,
Yes, it
probably.
must have been. Okay. Now tell us about that adorable little fur baby of yours, Clover.
Clover James. Clover James is the dog I've always wanted but never was allowed to have when I was 6 years old. So, and I never really had time or the lifestyle for a dog. And, my parents just never let me have a dog. And so I had cats. And when I turned 40, I decided to get myself my 40th birthday present of my dream dog. And I always loved the dog from Lady and the Tramp. I was always
Oh,
really
my
into like the lady.
favorite
Yeah.
movie, Lady and the
Yes.
Tramp.
I loved Lady and the Tramp. I loved the look of Lady, and I fell in love with so many Cocker Spaniels growing up. And I discovered Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and I was like, that dog is awesome. So I finally got a, I finally got a hold of somebody who had a puppy, and we fell in love. And he's the love of my life. He's the greatest thing. Just he's so cute, and he's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and they're bred to be very sweet
Mhm.
and very people pleasing. But he is actually also very pushy and stubborn and athletic and playful. And I love it. There's never a dull moment. He's a clown, and sometimes he gets on my nerves because he wants what he wants when he wants it, but I love him to death. And we are both obsessed with him. I think we probably take 4 or 5 pictures a day on our iPhones of him. He must be tired of being a model.
It is just so funny though that you say that he sometimes can be a little pushy because in one of your recent videos you said you thought he was starting to get a little attitudious.
Cavitude. Yeah. He's got a cavitude right now. I mean, we just moved, so I think that he's having a little bit of adjustment pains, but he definitely has cavitude. He wants to walk down a certain sidewalk, and he's very pushy. But we're working with it. We're working with it.
Okay. All right. Well, just to make sure that I stay on track of the time, I'm just kind of popping up the greetings on the screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and start the questions. And you can kind of see who's saying hello. We've got quite a few. But let's just go ahead and we'll get started with the questions. But I do want you to know I love your sense of humor, and you really seem to bring a lot of joy to the home organization space. And like you said, sometimes you can be a little spicy, but I just love your videos. I just love what you bring to the table, and I just enjoy your what you have to share, and so many other people out there do. So can you tell us how you got started in home organization?
Well, thank you for your kind words. How I got started in home organization. I've always been a home body. I've loved like being. I mean, I'm the ultimate homebody. I love being at home. People are like, if you want to go out, I'm like, yeah, but also, can you come over? That kind of person. And I always was when I grew up. I was always just rearranging my room and trying to figure out the best configuration for it. And but I never was very neat actually in my room or organized at all. I would have piles of toys and art supplies and stuff and clothes and whatever. But I always knew where everything was, even though it was kind of messy. My mother and I had like the most like the bumping of the heads about like whether or not I clean my room or I should keep my room clean, all that stuff. So when I was in my 20s, I kind of I kind of what was trying to keep a neater house,
Hmm.
but I just was never successful. Would go through the whole process of, I remember this very distinctly, of like, I had this amazing pantry in one of my first apartments. And one day I was like, I'm going to organize it. And I organized it. It stayed neat for maybe a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of got nutso again. And I remember very specifically, this is in that same apartment. 9/11 happened. I was living alone, and I came home to my apartment after having been sent home from school. I was in graduate school at the time. And just in front of the TV, just watching it all go down and feeling really unsafe and just kind of unsettled and like not calm in my space, because it was messy, there was stuff everywhere, it just wasn't neat. And that kind of changed my perspective about what I wanted my home to be like. I wanted it to be a safe place that hugged you when you walked in, and I didn't feel that way when I walked in that day after I got sent home from school. So started to, after graduate school, I got I had several jobs, but one of them was a part-time job at the Container Store.
Yes.
And I didn't even know, when I first was hired there, I had never even been in a Container Store. I was just like, I need something
Mm-hmm.
to like earn a little extra money. And at first they hired me to do merchandise processing, which is when you get up at 5 a.m. and you unwrap all the merchandise and put it on the shelves. And there's like a very specific, like very specialized method to do it. There's a whole like training involved, and it's very systematic and involves like teams of two. And it's actually it's shockingly, it's very organized.
Mm-hmm.
And I only wanted to do that. I was like, listen, I'm going to come here from 5 to 9 and then I'm going to leave. And they're like, hey, actually, we think you'd be great on the sales floor. And I'm like, I don't know. I worked so much retail. I don't want to be out here helping customers. And they're like, no, just work a couple of shifts. It'll be great. So I work a couple of shifts and I fell in love. I fell in love with products. I fell in love with helping people solve problems. That was one of my favorite things to do, is to like help customers when they came in with their organization problems. I was like, we got this. We got this. I'm like, I got the right thing for you. I'm going to show you right there, over there in that aisle. Come with me. Come with me. And eventually I learned to design closets and stuff as well. And that was a lot of fun. And then professional organizers start coming in the store. And I was like, is that something that people do? Like,
That's a
people
thing.
organize people's houses? Like, that's a job? And I was like, I could do that. So in 2013, I started my own organizing service, and I guess it's all history from there. It's been an adventure.
It sounds like it's been, and who knew that that little part-time job, just to kind of help tide
Mhm.
things over until you found your forever job, turned out to be something that was a blessing to you then and continues to give from here on out. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and ask you the first question. And this first question actually kind of comes from Etasha Johnson. And this was one of the ones that popped up on my community tab. And it's in relation to the fact that she wanted to know about moving into a new house. And I thought, well, you have traded homes several times in the last few years. And so you're kind of the moving or relocation queen. And I'm sure our military families and actually many of our corporate families can probably relate to that same thing. I know my daughter has lived in 5 states in the last 10 years. So I remember my grandson said once, and he was about 10 at the time, we're professional movers because we move every year.
You
He
got
even
it.
wrote a book about it called Donovan Gray and the Lost Cities. But I'm digressing now. But I'll link it in the description box in case anybody's interested. So I posted something on my community tab asking what were the burning questions that people wanted to hear from you about. And moving into a new house was one of the big ones. So you could take a look
Mm.
at Itasha's question about what tips do you have for organizing when moving into a new home?
Oh my goodness. Well, as a military brat and someone who has moved way too many times in the past 5 years of my life, um, I can tell you that the biggest advice I have actually when organizing a new space is to take some pressure off of yourself to get it like to your perfect, because it, and first of all, it's never going to be perfect, right? The
Mhm.
perfect is for you know, nothing's perfect. Nothing. Not
Right.
even, you know, the most beautiful symmetrical things in nature are just a little bit not perfect, right? So, I the one of the hardest things for me to accept for my own space is that you should live in it for a little bit and then start to make the very small tweaks. And it's something that occurs over time. Now, initially, you want to make sure that when you're in your new home, that you set up spaces that are very dynamic and important, like let's kitchen, bathroom, master bedroom, those places. And if you work from home and office, maybe that's a place of higher priority.
Mhm.
uh, and make sure those spaces function reasonably well, but to give yourself a little bit of grace for the first few weeks, few months even. And after a few months, you can really start getting detail oriented in terms of organizing the space, because you may not use your kitchen in the way that you thought you'd use it when you first moved in. Like, let's say you just have this new island, right? In your kitchen, you've never had an island before. You're like, oh, whoa, my goodness. And you find yourself, instead of using that island for, food prep or staging things, that you're using it for something else. Like
Mhm.
maybe you're setting your groceries there mostly, and you're cutting food on the counter behind the island. Or are you mostly using that for something else? So I would just get a hold of whatever your habits are in the space, and then start organizing very in a very detailed way, but in a very like broad way. Um, I mean, give yourself a little bit of grace. I mean, I tell myself that every day here. We've been in this house for a month,
Uh-huh.
and I'm still very much like, it feels like we've been here a day. But I gotta give yourself some time.
I'm going to just share real quick with the audience some of the things that you've been doing over there because you've been working and getting yourself together. So let me just find your channel here. And here's your channel right here, the
Oh, there I
Organized
am.
Soprano. There you are in the pantry there. But then you can also look to see that, you're doing a house plant tour because you love, house plants. And then you're um, showing like a new dresser, you're organizing a space there. You did some reorganization in your laundry room. In your hall closets, that kind of thing. So you've been doing quite a bit in your home. And so, like you said, you've been there a month and you are gradually taking on
Hmm.
some of those new projects. What
Hmm.
would you suggest that a person should do first, and then second, and then third when they're preparing to move?
First, the first thing you gotta do is declutter the stuff, because if you put it in a box and you move it, and you get to your new space and you take it out of the box and you're like, what is this? I don't need this. It's like the most angry you'll ever be in your entire life, because all that energy you spent moving it, maybe like wrapping it in some bubble wrap or whatever, that's wasted energy. So I would say declutter your space. And to be honest, completely honest with you, you'll probably do a second declutter upon your move, just because you're in a new space. You might not have needed that, thing the same as you needed in your other space. You thought you would, but maybe you don't.
Mhm.
But I would encourage you that's the first thing you should do, is just declutter the old space before you start packing. Um, the second thing that's really helpful, if you can, and it's not always possible, is if you get a floor plan of the new space, to sort of loosely plan where things are going to go, in advance. I've done this to like a really detailed level, and it's been remarkable. But with this space, I didn't do it at all, and it things are much slower. But if you have the mental bandwidth and the time to do it, it's like saves a lot of time and energy. Um, and I feel like another big thing, like the third big tip I had is like, if you have the financial means, or if you have really good friends, get some help. Either help packing or help moving, because it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's a lot emotionally and a lot physically. I mean, like, I always have one of those moving breakdowns, like in the closet, where I'm crying. "Oh," it's really overwhelming. And if you have a friendly face, or like somebody who can just help you get everything into a box and get it to your new space safely and efficiently and quickly, you'll feel much better, and it'll be a lot less traumatizing.
I think it's funny when you talk about that crying and breaking down sobbing, because on one of your videos, when you were sharing about moving to this house, you were in tears, and I was like, what's happening? And then I listened to the video and I realized you were moving again, and I was like, what? She just moved. So can you just share us briefly the emotional aspects associated with moving houses? And it's not just for like you, but maybe something also associated with kids. And I'll tell you why I asked that. Like I said, my daughter's moved quite a bit. And
Mhm.
I used to wonder, when she moved to a new space, why did she just buy all new stuff, all new furniture, and just get everything all set up? But I realized later that at least having all the old furniture and being able to kind of sit it in similar arrangements helped the kids feel a little bit like something was still familiar. So can you talk about that just real briefly?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, again, as somebody who's a military brat and was kind of moved all around in their childhood and now in my adulthood, I do think it's important to keep keep familiarity around, especially for children and pets, actually. I feel like, more importantly, I feel like cats are especially sensitive to
Oh,
not having familiarity around. I mean, dogs, I feel like dogs are a little bit more adaptable as long as they have their humans, but I feel like cats definitely need like a safe place to land when they get to their new space. But moving is moving is very traumatizing. It's up there on those very serious life changes
uh,
that can be really emotionally
mhm.
draining, up there with like divorce, death in the family, somebody's ill in your family, new jobs. I mean, it's good stress and bad stress at the same time. Like, moving to this space was a good stress. However, it's still a stress nonetheless. I don't think that your brain knows the difference between like the cortisol from good stress and the cortisol from bad stress. It still all goes to the same place. So I I feel like a lot of people forget about the emotional impact of moving house and don't allow themselves to recover enough from it. And that includes, the young people. I think that it's a big change, especially if you're moving, especially if the young people are moving to another state or another city where they may be the new kid in school. Um, and they may have to make all new friends. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot. So, I mean, some familiarity is going to be your best bet in terms of making everybody feel comfortable in the new space.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. And like I said, my grandson even wrote a book about moving, and he called it The Lost Cities. And in it, this character talked about moving so many times, and everywhere people didn't remember him, or he'd have to start
Mm,
all over and make new friends and all of that. So I think that's a real trauma that sometimes kids can face. Okay. So what's the
it's
best
tough.
method to organize for moving?
The best method to organize for moving. I mean, I think the best thing you can do for yourself is, if you are handling the boxes, to label the boxes in a very clear way that works for you and the people around you who are helping to who are touching the boxes.
Mhm.
I found that color coding is amazing. You don't have to go buy those fancy color coded labels, which do exist, and if you want them, that's great. I have some, and they're awesome. But you can even use post-it notes in different colors, and the ones with the blue post-it note and the blue marker are for the kitchen, and just carefully label the contents of the box, just in general, like what's inside. And if it really matters to you, make sure you know where the coffee maker is the day after you move or the day you move.
Oh
That's a very
yeah.
important box.
Oh yeah.
It's a very important box. And a
Otherwise, you're
mug
making a
too.
run.
You're making a Dunkin' run or a Starbucks run, and no one wants to do that, right? Got to get that homemade cup of coffee. So, um, those are things that like I handled. I well in a previous move I handled by myself, and also make sure that if anything's really valuable, so if you can probably just to handle that yourself. All of my like computer equipment, streaming equipment, lights, cameras, stuff, I took in my own car by myself. I didn't, just to protect your investments.
Hmm. Okay. And that was the next question. So you already got that answered.
Oh yeah, and movers don't move house plants either. You have to do that yourself too.
Oh, they don't.
They do not. They
Okay.
do not. I mean,
Didn't know
I don't think they do. Yeah, I don't think they move like living things. So, your houseplants, I mean, your houseplants should be moved by you anyway. They are, I mean, they'll be susceptible to pests during the in transit, because they're outside. You're getting, bringing all kinds of things from inside. So, plants are actually a tough thing to move because they adjust too, just like pets and
that.
kids.
Who
Because they're a
knew?
living thing. Yeah, they adjust to their new environment. And that's why when you bring a plant home from the store, you have to give it like a couple weeks to acclimate to your house.
Okay.
And don't do too much to it at first.
Okay. Okay. Let's just see. I'm looking at the chat real quick, but I think I'm just going to go keep you going. You're on a roll, so I'm going to just let you keep going. So, refrigerator organization. Now, I've been thinking about this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I have to tell you, Kay, I did not realize that I had my refrigerator organized all wrong. And I had watched 2 or 3 of your videos because, like I said, I've been following you for a while. And you talked about needing to put the dairy in a certain place.
Mhm.
So, can you talk about that?
So when I talk about organizing refrigerators, and proper food storage, I am there are some beautiful refrigerators on Instagram and TikTok. They look great, right? But in terms of being able to actually store food properly in a way that it's not going to spoil, it's not going to look that nice. So I apologize. So, um, the proper temperature for your refrigerator is going to be somewhere between, if you're in America, somewhere between 38 and 42 degrees. But I want to make sure that everyone is mindful what they put in the door of their fridge.
Mhm.
Some older refrigerators, and actually some newer refrigerators, to have the little egg compartment in the door of the fridge. I always encourage people to like not use that compartment, because your door of the fridge is going to be a lot warmer than any other part of your fridge because you're opening and closing the door all day. So it's going to have the most temperature variation. It can be 45 degrees, 46 degrees. And your eggs will, they'll probably be okay, but they'll spoil a little faster in the door. And this also applies to things that are more perishable, such as dairy products, um, meats, and things like that. Should be in your coldest part of your fridge. So the coldest parts of your fridge will vary from fridge to fridge, right? Every fridge is an individual. um, but you can buy like a very inexpensive refrigerator thermometer if you really want to test it. But the coldest parts of the fridge typically tend to be, this isn't all encompassing, but typically it tends to be the rear of the fridge, meaning the back of the fridge, and the bottom parts of the fridge.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of newer refrigerators have like a deli compartment, which is really helpful because this tends to be a colder sort of area for things to go. Um, but also, the crisper drawers confuse a lot of people. So, um, the crisper drawers are where a lot of people are putting a lot of their produce.
Mhm.
And there's two of them usually. If you have like just a regular mundane fridge. I think some of the newer, fancier ones may have 3 or 4 little drawers, which good for you if you have one of those fridges. But, but and a lot of there's a little setting on the crisper drawer that says, like, it'll say vent open or vent closed, or it'll say fruits or vegetables, or it'll say humidity on it, and no one knows what it's for. So I'm
True.
going to tell you what it's for. The vent, when you have the vent closed, you're going to create a situation where there's higher humidity. And some produce loves that environment and will last longer. And we're talking about leafy green vegetables and things that are sensitive to a compound that plants produce called ethylene, which is like a plant hormone that plants produce. They exude it, and it sends a signal to plants to ripen. So apples are the biggest offender of producing lots of this ethylene, right? They're just shooting it out. Also avocados and bananas. Those are, so I mean, you'll notice that things that are sat next to bananas, or if you put apples and bananas close together, that they both ripen or spoil much more quickly. It's because they're both shooting out, giving each other ethylene, and and bananas are also particularly sensitive to it. They can plants and vegetables and produce can be sensitive to ethylene. They can produce a lot of ethylene and not be sensitive to it, or they can, not care at all. So the plants that are sensitive to ethylene should go in the high humidity place. Like we're talking about cucumbers, I feel like zucchini, leafy green vegetables like lettuce, kale, some herbs, and then plants that are producing the ethylene, apples, again, avocados, and there are lots of others. I do have a cheat sheet somewhere because I don't remember, because who's going to remember, right? So I have a cheat sheet, should go in the other one. And that one, the vent is open to have airflow going through. So I think a lot of information about like horticulture, it can help you store your produce correctly, because they're plants, right? So and some plants really need humidity to thrive. Like they'll droop if they are dry and need water. And so your kale and your lettuce stuff needs water, so it needs to be humid in a humid environment. So there's little things you can buy to suck up the ethylene. To produce a little less of an intense environment in one of your drawers and keep veggies and fruits fresher for longer. But you don't have to have that. Again, and sometimes people ask, well, what should be stored in the door if I can't put, perishable food there? The door is for condiments. The door is for anything that is well preserved, that can stand the temperature variation of the door opening and closing. Ketchup, hot sauce, vinegars, things with like pickles, olives, any kind of yummy condiments that you want to put in there. I mean, anything that has a lot of preservatives, either salt or acid, are good preservatives. So mustard, again, another great, one of my favorite condiments, actually. So that is my basics in refrigerator organization.
Okay.
And it doesn't result in your fridge looking beautiful, but your food will last a long time.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate that. And then while I was listening to you, I thought, I got that new cabbage I just bought in the wrong place. So I'm going to and reorganize it. And yesterday was Wednesday when we were to wipe out our fridge and things like that. So, and Fly Lady Cat is on. So I know she knows I was supposed to do that. So I'm
Save the cabbage.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take another look at that. Well, let me go ahead and take a break in questioning and do our apron note giveaway. So, Kay, what we do here at Apron Diva is that, Apron Diva is my online apron boutique. And with every order that we send out, we give away an apron note. And the purpose of the apron note is to remind each of you homemakers how special you really are. And it is our hope that you think of the apron note as a gift from your dearest friend. And we say that you don't choose the note chooses you. So we've got like 14 different notes, and they're randomly put in the orders. And so the note for this week is this one. And it says, overwhelmed, spend 10 minutes prioritizing. And
Mm.
that's from the Apron Diva, who is moi. So, Kay, because you're our guest, you will get a copy of this apron note. And then Mickey Blue Skies, who's my baby sister, she's on with us. She's my
Oh.
administrative assistant, and she will randomly pick a lucky viewer to get a copy of this same note. So while ladies are typing in like what this note means to you, because I know that note is resonating with somebody out there in the audience right now. So while they're typing in what it means to them, can you tell us what this note might mean to you? I don't know if it'll resonate with you or not, but it might because you just moved again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Um, and it is actually something that I do with clients when I go and see them. If they often when I go see someone and they want to, and if they're overall disorganized, like if it's not just one particular space, because some people it's just one space, they get stuck. They have, they need a second set of eyes, fresh
Mhm.
set of eyes to sort of solve the problem. And if it's the whole space, then I said, calm down. I'm like, just what is the one that's bothering you the most? And that's the one we're going to tackle first,
Mhm.
because eh, it's if it's the one that's resonating the strongest with you, eliciting the strongest emotional reaction, then that's the one you want to take care of first. Um, and it may be the most difficult one, which is unfortunate. But usually it's not. Usually it's the easiest one
Mhm.
for me to deal with. And you just kind of go down the list from there in order of what's bothering you the most. So, because I am all about helping yourself feel good, right? Because sometimes I like to feel good and I don't like to feel stressed.
Yes.
And sometimes if I feel overwhelmed, which is, I'm going to be honest, which is often, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have all these things to do and I didn't prioritize. I need to just sit down, write the list, and whatever is the most important, I'm going to bang out, and then I'm just going to check these off, when I can, and not put too much pressure on myself to get it all done in one day, cuz I'm a person and not a robot. Even though I want to be a robot so bad. I want to be the first android.
That is too funny. I told you I like your sense of humor. So I don't know if I'd like to be an android though, because androids aren't always treated very kindly.
They're not. Maybe, yeah. Well, maybe in Star Trek they are.
Okay, all right. Well,
Aren't
and
they?
it's kind of funny though that you brought up the story about like you'll ask your clients what is their most pressing thing, because that was one of the things that I noticed on one of your videos when you were talking about a client being just completely overwhelmed, and she was giving herself a lot of negative self-talk, like I'm so
Mhm.
disorganized, my house is a hot mess, that kind of thing. And you said, well, let's just start with the closet. So I think that just kind of starting with the area that's of most importance makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and you gotta just start. Yeah, I mean, being overwhelmed is something that happens to everyone, including me, and the you gotta just start. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and say, the first 5 minutes might be, like, might suck a little bit, but once you get the momentum going, it's great. You'll be great. Just get through it.
Look what Mickey Blue Sky said. She said maybe you want to be an android that can kick butt.
I
He likes
could.
to do the
I wanna
dangerous
be one of
things.
those.
He likes
I wanna
other,
be the.
what do you call them? Not configurations. Simulations.
Simulation. I like simulation games.
He likes that, and she knows about your other channel, K Daisy.
Yes, good times.
Yeah, she's one of your big supporters over there. But I guess I better go ahead and give the name of the winner, and she sent it to me, and it's Kathleen Hansen. She's the name of the person
Yay!
who wins the apron note tonight. And I think some of your people followed you over here. So Kathleen Hansen, if you could send me your email address. Oh, no, that's not correct. If you could send me your address and send me your address at my email, thisandthatwithdenise@gmail.com. Don't put it here in the chat.
Do
Send it to
not.
me by email, and then I will mail it to you by snail mail. Okay? All right.
Nice.
All right. So now let me tell you guys, there's a couple other things before we get back at it. First of all, like I said, I am in boot camp, and I'm in boot camp with Fly Lady Cat. And this week, she's got us all in boot camp because she says we're going to get our homes licked into shape so that by the time Thanksgiving comes around, we are ready to go to war with the Thanksgiving holiday. So she's been wearing camo on some of the videos that she's been sending out to us. And I've been working on a few things, so I just thought it would be fun to let you guys see me in my camo gear. And then here she is, Fly Lady Cat. And then she's been talking about some of the different routines that we've been working on, particularly the morning routine. And I want you guys to know I got KP. And no, KP is not standing for Kate Patterson.
I know what KP is.
No, it's cat punishment.
Oh, cat punishment.
It is cat punishment because her name is Fly Lady Cat, and KP is cat punishment. And what did
Oh
I do? I
no.
had done all of my routine except I didn't make my bed. And we have to
Oh,
send her a daily report of whether or not we got our routines done, and then whether or not, what we didn't get done. I had everything done, but I hadn't made my bed. And I thought, well, I'll make it before I get into bed tonight because I had everything else done. And didn't my husband come up early and get into bed? So I couldn't make the bed. I was like,
ruined. Sabotaged.
it sabotaged me. So when I sent in my report, I had to mention that I didn't make my bed. So my cat punishment was I had to make the bed the next day, but I had to make it with the flat sheets tucked under with hospital corners that you could flip a quarter off the bed. Now, mind you, I had already made the bed before I saw the punishment, and I didn't make it the way she said do it. So I had to strip the bed and then remake it so that I could, do it like I was supposed to. And then we have to send her a note like, ma'am, yes, ma'am, to let her know that we got our KP and that we got it done.
This is giving me army camp flashbacks.
Oh, that's right, because you said you're an Army brat. So, yeah. So I just thought you guys would want to know why I'm in camo. So my husband went out to buy me this shirt and the hat and the whole 9 yards. Okay. So, and then the other thing that I want to remind everybody is that to remind people again that the featured apron for the week is this one back here. And I'll show you. It's the Mommy and Me set. This is the mom apron. And then we've got a little baby one. We've got not a baby one, but we've got one for the little ones and the little girls.
That's so cute.
Yeah, from those 2 to 6. So this is the one that's on sale this week for 10% off. Isn't that cute?
That's so cute.
And while I'm at it, a lot of people have been asking about this one. It's back in stock. They just came in today. They weren't supposed to come in until tomorrow, but I thought I'd let you guys know they came in today. So we got our inventory up to date. So there's that.
That's adorable.
Right. It is cute. I just love it. So that was one of the ones Mickey Blue Skies picked out. So if an apron's on your wish list, let your loved ones know so they can beat the shipping rush. Okay. So now let's get to some of the other questions. Mickey Blue Skies sent me a note and I can't find it. So while I try to find it, I got a question here that I'm going to go ahead and pop up here. And this one was from Debbie Joe at Debbie Joe 123. And she wants to know, what are your top 5 organizing tips?
Top 5 organizing tips. All right. The first one is to not go shopping at the Container Store, Target, Amazon, etc., before you have done your project. This happens all the time. I go to clients' houses, they got the Container Store bags full of merchandise, never got unpacked, never got done. So save that till after you've done your organizing. Second tip, declutter before you do anything else. Organizing is not about moving your belongings around. It is about only storing the stuff that is serving you at any given time. And if something is not serving you or you are not going to use it, let it go. And with that, third tip is to be wary of the some days and the what ifs. The some days and the what ifs keep people from getting rid of stuff or passing it along to, another person that that they may need to, because it's, what if I am going to do that cross stitch that I had intended on doing when I was at Michael's and bought all this stuff. But in someday, I definitely plan on painting this thing, or someday I'm definitely going to need this typewriter for when I write the great American novel. But I definitely have a computer and I don't need it. Or someday I'm good, just things like that. Um, have possessions in your house that reflect who you actually are, the reality of who you are right now. And if you're not the person who's going to do a cross stitch because you don't feel like it, or you'd rather play video games, or you'd rather like hang out with your kids, then that's who you are. And just accept that and take that burden off of your plate. Number 4 is, it does not have to be perfect. Perfect does not exist. It just has to be pretty good, and it has to function for you.
Mhm.
Pretty good is the goal everyone should strive to get to, because pretty good is pretty good, or at least like okay. If you can get to okay, it's you've already won. And after you get to okay, if you want to get to like pretty good and extraordinary, that's like Pinterest level, definitely go for it. But I mean, pretty good is a pretty good goal to get to. And number 5, I feel like organize for the person that you are in a way that reflects your own habits. Like, let's say that you want to be the kind of person that keeps a completely minimal entryway with nothing there. And you have this entryway closet, and it's got a shoe rack inside and a closet rod and hangers for all of your coats. But you're really the kind of person that throws your coat or like puts it on a hanger, and you throw your shoes somewhere, and you're not going to make the physical effort to like open a door, get the hanger out, put your coat on there. Then get some hooks, put the stuff on the hook, and then throw your shoes on a shoe rack that's outside of the closet. Deal with it, make it easy to maintain for you, easy to do, make it easy to put stuff away, and easy for everyone in your family to maintain. Because if you're asking your family to step up to do things that they're really not going to do, like, let's be honest, like a lot of kids are not going to be like, oh, I'm going to open the door and put my shoes in. No, they're going to throw their shoes, right? Make sure they get a
Right.
place to throw their shoes. Like, I mean, honestly, make it easy for them, and so that you can maintain your sanity, and also maintain a neat home. I think that's
Oh,
it.
that makes perfect sense. And I laugh about this sometimes, but my husband walks past the closet into the living room to put his coat on a chair.
The
And
chair, the
yes, or
chair.
he'll walk past the closet and hang a hat on the little, like the little newel post for the going upstairs. He will not put that coat in the closet. So one of the things that I do every morning when I come down after I've done my yoga is I'll pick the coat up, hang it in the closet, put the hat away. Because it's like either I'm going to do this for me, or I'm going
Mhm.
to be nagging at him all the time about leaving his coat on the closet. And there's really not a good place, or rather, I don't want to make a place to hang a hook right there, like on the one wall that's close to the door. So,
Yeah.
like you said, I don't want to make myself crazy, and I don't want to make him crazy.
Mhm.
So I just let him put the coat on the chair, and then I just know that I'm going to hang that coat up the next morning. If he leaves before I do, he'll pick the coat up, put it on, and keep it moving.
With spouses and roommates and family members, there's some level of compromise that will have to be met, which is something it's hard for everyone to accept, especially if like one person's really neat and one person doesn't have the same standards. Let's say, like my husband, for example, loves to do a thing with the dishes called staging, and in which he puts the dishes like beside the sink, not in the sink, but beside the sink, like beside like on like beside the dishwasher, like not actually in the dishwasher. And this is enormously frustrating, because I'm like, you're almost to the dishwasher, like you could just open the door and slide him in. He's like, no, I'm staging him, and I'm like, you know what, if eventually they're gonna get in there, then I just have to like just let it go. And for the most part, I'm okay with letting it go. But Yeah, some level of compromise is definitely the reality of living with others.
Definitely. I got a
Mhm.
question in. It popped up. Well, Mickey Blue Sky sent it, and it's on my iPad. And it says, "I've heard plants were good to have in your home, but I
Mhm.
hate plants, and I don't have a green thumb. What is a good plant that I can get for my craft room that won't be hard to care for? No succulent."
Okay. Okay. Oh, Clover.
Here's Clover,
Let me get him. Oh my gosh.
her little fur baby.
So, in terms of plants, so I think the let's I feel like the whole thing about green thumb, black thumb, let's just like wipe that away and give ourselves a break. So the only thing that you can have to help your plants be the best they are is knowledge of what they need. Okay. So some plants are needier than others, for sure. So I my one of some of my top recommendations for someone who just wants something that's just going to be pretty and they don't have to take a super good care of it is those super common heartleaf philodendrons that you can see at the grocery store.
Mhm.
They're green, they're vining, they have these beautiful heart-shaped leaves. They want nothing from you except for an occasional water. Don't overwater it. um, but I feel like those are the easiest to sort of care for, and they'll grow for you. They're very, very forgiving, if you
Mhm.
forget to water it. Philodendron, Brazil is another one that's really forgiving and also gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It's just a different variegation of the same species of philodendron. Snake plants are really forgiving. Just don't overwater them.
Okay.
And I want to say Zamioculcas semifolia, also known as ZZ plant, but I've actually had trouble with them. So I'm going to suggest any of those little philodendrons you can get at, you know, Safeway or Lowe's, are probably
Something
your
inexpensive.
best bet. Huh?
Something inexpensive.
Yeah, they're definitely, yeah, and they're super affordable. Like you can get them for like what,
Okay.
$5? Yeah.
All right, so I got another question for you. And this one was a big one. And actually, I put a poll on my community tab, and 51% of the people wanted information on closet organization. And then some wanted information on organization for kitchen shelves, especially pots and mixing bowls. Now, this question comes from Leanne A from the community tab. But like I said, when I did the poll, 51% wanted to know about closet organization.
Okay. So in general, I feel like the big crutch with closets is that most closets that you will see in like builders grade houses, or apartments will have a closet and a closet rod and a shelf, and that's it. So my biggest recommendation is if you have a closet and all it has is a closet rod and a shelf,
Mhm.
to upgrade it a little bit. You can, I mean, custom closets are great. I love custom closets, but
Mhm.
if you can't, you can definitely buy little things to add on to add some double hang. There's things you can actually hang from your closet rod to add that double hang so that you can have two rows of hanging. Um, and also to not store things on the floor if they're small. That's like the biggest thing I find when I go to clients' houses is when they have um, things on the floor and they're small, like there's like lots of pairs of shoes that are like on the floor but scattered about.
Mhm.
That is the danger zone, or small purses, socks scattered about. The floor is a danger zone for clothes. So I would get everything if you can off the floor. Sorry, Clover. And I love those thin flocked hangers. You can buy like some super cheap from Target or Marshalls. They free up so much space in your
Okay.
closet. Those are the big tips for I have closet organization. I mean, custom
You're
closets are
always
like
doing
the
Elfa.
ultimate. I
And
love
every place
Alpha.
you've been, I've seen you reinstall Elfa.
It's like a puzzle. I mean, I love it because it's like a puzzle and it's easy for me to move stuff around.
Mhm.
And I yeah, I mean, maybe I like it because it's like a video game, you know? It's like Tetris, you can move stuff around, you can buy new pieces if you need something, you can change it if your needs change. It's so flexible, and it's relatively affordable. In when you're talking about custom closets, and the pieces are so durable, they last for a lifetime. So I love it. I mean, I used to sell it, so of course I'm biased, but
Mhm.
it's just been one of the greatest products I've ever worked with in terms of custom shelving.
Okay. And then our Anderville wants to know, how can she stay minimal? Right now, she says they live in a very small space. It's about 10 by 10, but they're going to be moving to a larger space. And so she's a minimalist now by, not by necessity, but when they move into their larger space, how can she kind of keep it down to a dull roar? How can she stay more minimal when she's in that new space?
It really depends on uh what your habits are as far as the kinds of things that you consider clutter that are in your home. Like, let's say you love buying clothes and you're having trouble sort of controlling that, then it's a matter of unsubscribing from those emails from J. Crew that come, in your email box. Very mindfully shopping. I have a whole video and I have a whole worksheet on mindful shopping. There's a whole thought process that should go through your mind when you're actually in a store, or on a website shopping. And because I think that the shopping process, whether it's online or in person, can really affect how much clutter per se is in your home. Now, the clutter is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Mhm.
Like, I've been in houses where a client must have 38 tea towels, and that makes them happy. It's none of my business, right? That's the number they need for them.
Or 9 sets
Um,
of dishes?
she had a lot. She had a lot. And I was like, we're going to organize them, but she got rid of other stuff that didn't mean as much to her, right? It didn't bring her as much joy. I don't want to be Marie Kondo here on the show, but like it didn't mean as much to her. And things that mean a lot to you, things that you need, that you use, that you love, those are the things you want in your home. Like, you need toilet paper, right? You
Mhm.
use scissors, right? You love, a dress, right? Everything else is extra. And if you want to be minimalist at heart, then the extra can go. Clover, do you need to do you need to get down? I think he does.
Okay. So do you have a link to that worksheet that you said you had? If you do, tell us
Mhm.
what it is, and I can have maybe Mickey Blue Skies can put the link up, and then people can go over to your channel to get it.
It's on my website, and it's under, I think it's under shop or downloads. I forgot. It's like, I'm terrible. I don't even know what's on my own website, but it's definitely available for download, on a download page.
On your website, not on your YouTube
Hmm.
channel. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Mickey Blue Skies, if you could find that website for us, and then we can drop it in the comments in the chat box, that would be great. Okay. Something else that I had another question from Maggie here, and she says, what tips do you have for organizing a small home for short old people?
Short old people. I mean, I I'm I'm like, I'm a short person, so I all I know is that, like, you have to make things accessible for whatever your height is. And actually, in particular, I've noticed that in this home, this was a home where taller people thrived.
Mhm.
And just make sure that you are able to reach everything you need to reach, and to have a lot of step stools if people feel comfortable getting on step stools. Maybe sometimes if you're a little bit older, maybe the step stools might not be, that awesome all the time. Um, but I mean, again, with a small home, I feel like less is more in terms
Mhm.
of what you're storing inside, like just the basic necessities. And, a few things that you love are really all you need to be storing there. Small spaces is I I love small spaces. I love them, but, you can't bend time and space. And, it's great to deal with less things anyway, right? So,
Exactly.
But I mean, there's a step stool in every room in our house. So
Well, and I just got a new step stool. My husband bought me one. He didn't like the one I used before. He kept thinking it was a little unsteady and it was more like a little ladder.
Mhm.
So when I got back from visiting my daughter, he had bought me a new one and it's got a lot wider platform at the top and then a little step to step up on. So, and he just felt like this one was much safer. So you can try to find some that are more
Mhm.
adaptable for whatever stage of life that you're in.
For sure.
Okay, so this was another question that popped up from about how to manage paper and financial organization. And I saw that you actually have a video about that very subject. You did
I
a
do. I
live
have
stream.
2. Yeah. I did too, and I hate paper clutter. I hate
Well, one of the things that Fly Lady Cat helps us do is work on 1 inch of paper every day as part of our weekly plan.
Mhm. Mm.
So tell us about, like, do you have any like quick tips? Because I know that you guys can go to this and I'm getting a robocall from the International Paper Company all of a sudden. Go
Oh,
figure.
how fitting.
Isn't that funny? But so tell us real quickly about that.
My biggest tip when dealing with paper is to deal with as little paper as you possibly can and as fast as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be there with me or someone like me going through boxes and boxes of papers and bills, and you would be very surprised how much money I find when I'm doing this. And it could I mean, I really encourage you to deal with as few papers as you can, as quickly as you can, because dealing with paper clutter is very time consuming. Because you cannot just take a pile of documents and discard them unless you know that they're like, a term paper from the 80s, right? Because they might have personally identifying information on it. It might have your credit card information, some very private stuff. So it may be something you want to shred, or it may be something you want to save, like birth certificates, mortgage stuff to have to do with your home, car, and so there's actually a very limited amount of actual paper documents that you physically need to keep, having to do with maybe your taxes, your home, your car, of course, birth certificate,
Mm-hmm.
any death certificates. There's things that are like very important, passport, things that are sort of transient in your life, like bills that you've paid. Um, Often, medical stuff that's transient can just be shredded after you've already dealt with it. And I see a lot of people keeping these things like their credit card statements, bank statements, things like that. Just get rid of it or go paperless. Paperless is another great way to get that clutter out of your life. But I want to encourage you to deal with the paper that comes into your home, because they're sending paper to you every day in the mail, and it's the most annoying thing on the earth, right? So deal with that paper as quickly as possible, um, and to deal with as few papers as possible. So as soon as that bill comes in the mail, you open it, right? You open it. It's that day. You deal with it. Either you make a plan to pay it, or you pay it like right then, very soon. Just get to it. If you can't do it right then, if you're in the middle of something, make a date with yourself to take care of it. Letting papers and documents pile up is the one of the it's one of the most unkind things you can do to yourself in your life. So be kind to yourself. Deal with as few documents as possible, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I get invited over to someone's house to deal with documents, it's one of my least favorite jobs, because it's very time consuming, and it stinks.
Okay, I got that. All right.
Strong feelings.
I see there. Okay, well, I'm going to link that video in the description box. Probably not until, well, later tonight or in the morning. I'll get that link down there so people can go over and watch that. And then Mickey Blue Skies did find that. Let me find it. She did find that link
Perfect.
for you. So people go over and click on that link for and check that out for Kay. And this is the one that people asked about in regards to printables. Now, here's another question here. And then we just have time for one more, and then we'll do the lightning round because I promised you I wouldn't keep you on too long. So here's this first question here. It says, I'm a prepper with limited space. Any suggestions on how to keep it looking neat and nice?
I mean, how long are you prepping for? That's the only thing. Like, are you prepping for like to live without water and electricity for like a week, a month? So that's the only thing. And I think
Most people are
to
prepping for 6 months to 2 years.
6 months to 2 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yes.
Um, I would be mindful of I would be mindful of the expiration dates on the cans, first of all. Um, so I would set the ones that are expiring first to the front of the line, like little soldiers,
Mhm.
and make sure that I definitely would go down there every few months and check to see if anything is getting close to the end. And if it is, just go ahead and use it up. But shelving is going to be your best bet. I mean, I'm sure you have shelving if you are prepping. But some of the best shelving is that metal shelving they use at backstage. Wow, in the backs of restaurants. That's the Metro or Intermetro, chrome shelving. It's very strong and it's not going to rust or look gross if anything crazy happens down there. And to separate the area by zones, you want to have your food zone, your TP zone, your paper zone, things like that, so that you're not, going all over you don't have your cans with your toilet paper and vice versa. That's what I would say.
I think I would suggest too, if there were maybe some small organizational boxes or things like that that you can put on the shelf to make it
Mhm,
look nice. I know I prep
mhm,
a little bit, and my prep is more for like 3 to 6 months. And so I will find on some of my metal shelving, I'll get some of those little half boxes that they have like at Kroger where they have the canned goods sitting on those. And I'll use some of those sometimes just to put on the shelf so that things don't tip, that kind of thing. Okay, so that was the last question from the audience. And then this person did send this question in. So I feel like I need to get to it. And then we'll get to the lightning round. And she wanted to know if you had any suggestions for small kitchen organization. This is from Joanna Foster.
Small kitchen organization. Well, it sounds like, I mean, a lot of people ask about small kitchen organization because they don't have enough space to put items. So I would encourage you, if you don't have enough space to put items, like if you don't have enough like pantry space or whatever, just to add it to your space in some kind of way. You may need to add it, very adjacent to another room, like a freestanding thing, either some shelving or a small standalone cabinet, just to give yourself a little more storage. Sorry, I hit my microphone. A little more storage because I find that when people ask about small kitchens, it's more about where do I put these things that I that I can't fit, because I did have a really small kitchen that this apartment was like 400 square feet. It was super tiny, but I like to cook. I'm a foodie, and I had all of this cooking stuff and a big pantry, and I just built shelving outside of the kitchen and stored it all there. So my big tip for a small kitchen is good. Think outside the box of your kitchen and add some extra storage, and be mindful of the zones in your kitchen. There's a prep zone, a cooking zone, and like a food storage zone in every kitchen. Just be mindful of where those are in your particular space.
Okay. All right. Now it's time for the lightning round. Okay. So this is in regards to egg storage. So cartons or purchased bins? The
Hmm.
cartons they came in or purchased bins?
I mean, cartons they came in, but if you're going to be extra, purchase bins. I like bins.
Okay. Hourly schedule or time blocking?
Time blocking.
Bike ride or leisurely walk in the park?
Oh, leisurely walk in the park. So nice.
Okay. A farmer's choice sandwich or a New Orleans poor boy?
Oh, po' boy, please. Please.
Okay. Skirts or jeans?
Skirts.
T-shirts or sweaters?
T-shirts.
And pianos or violins?
I mean both.
All right. You
Both.
like them both. All right. And then Eat That Frog or Atomic Habits.
Wait, what?
Boom! I gotcha. These are books. One of them is called Eat That Frog, and the other one's about atomic habits. And they're both about habits that people have or need to change to make them more well, to make their life a little bit easier. You know,
I
so
see.
and I figured you probably had heard about Eat That Frog, but you know what? Now that I think about that though, when I was listening to a video the other day, one of the things that Sean Cannell said was if you've read Eat That Frog, it becomes a part of your like nomenclature in your vernacular. But for the people who
Mhm.
have not read it, they're like, what? But what it means is do the hardest thing the first thing in the morning and get it over with. And sometimes like they're like I had to make a call to Old Navy today and I didn't want to do that. I thought I'll just do it later. Then I thought, Eat That Frog, call him now. So that's all.
I That's a good one because I had to call my insurance company. No, I had to call a hospital today because they didn't charge my insurance for something, and I got a very spicy bill in the mail,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was like, "Excuse me," but I didn't. I was like, "I don't want to do this," but it was fine. Eat that frog. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So I am sorry. I just assumed that you had probably heard about that because I really typically I don't
No,
ask.
I love Sean Cannell too. I never heard of it.
Oh, okay. He's a YouTube guru that I follow. He's my
Mhm.
YouTube mentor, so I follow him quite a bit. And but I don't like to ask questions that people just don't, have any idea about. But I thought, okay, I'll know this one. But
Yeah, no, I'd never heard of it. I'll check it out though. Sean Cannell's good.
yeah,
I met him at Vid Summit a couple years ago.
you've been to Vid Summit.
I went to Vid Summit twice. I did.
I'd love to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good time. Next year. I'll see you next year.
Yeah, I'd love to go. Well, Kay, is there anything else you want to add?
Um, Not really, except for be kind to yourself. I think that's like a big thing I want to make sure I put out into the world because sometimes I forget that too. So everyone just be kind to yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Be kind to yourself because, like you said, we're not always
Mhm.
kind to ourselves. We don't always
Mhm.
take good care of ourselves. And this month, I'm working on like self care. Like Michelle
Mm.
at My Everyday Wife Life, she did self care September, but I was doing other stuff. So I'm doing self care October. Me and Mickey Blue Skies are doing that. And
Awesome.
the self care thing today was to listen to a podcast, just something you enjoy. So, but yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you, Kay, so much for joining us. I'm going to link those videos in the description box. And I'm going to wrap things up with the viewers. So I'll boot you off the screen. And that if you want to stick around once I'm done with them and we can do a debrief, we can. If you need to go, then I'll see you next time. But you can say goodbye to the viewers.
Thank you so much for having me on, and it was so fun to hang out with you
Oh, it was
guys.
fun. I'm so glad you were here. You just had so much to say.
I have a lot to say all the time.
Well, we like it. Well, thank you
Great.
so much for joining us. And who knows, maybe one day you can join us again.
Absolutely. Invite me back.
All right. Bye, Kay. Guys, was she not wonderful? Oh my goodness. She was absolutely amazing. Just amazing. And yes, I just love her. I follow her videos and she just always has so many good ideas. So I'm just really so appreciative that she joined us. All right. So I don't have any happy meal to share tonight, so I won't be doing that. But I do want to ask you guys, what is your takeaway? What's your aha moment? How do you plan to incorporate some of Kay's amazing tips or tricks into your home? Inquiring minds want to know. And then let me also invite you to check out my latest video. It's the Mega Motivation Garage Storage Tips or my latest grocery haul. And oh, that latest grocery haul was so much fun. It was just like everybody was sitting in my kitchen and we were chatting away. Or my latest video regarding Thanksgiving prep. So please check those out. And I hate to keep mentioning prepping, and Kay was probably like, what? But yes, we do need to continue to stock up to prepare because there are some issues that are showing up in the food storage sector. I should say in the grocery sector. And you guys also drop me a little note as to who else you would like to have me come on. Oh, look, someone says they love Kay's videos on her pet peeves. And others say they're going to use her mantra to be more kind to yourself. I agree with that. So yes, definitely that. And she was amazing. And Roma Love is going to look at taking care of their refrigerator a little bit differently. So yes, just so much, so many nice things that people have to say. And then Kay is thanking all of us as well. And then list the names of the books again. Okay, I'll list those names of the books. And then be sure to visit Apron Diva at www.aprondiva.com. And don't forget to check out the this week's special, which is the Mommy and Me Duo. And also those Christmas aprons are back in stock. So in the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you are not done yet. Click on the link in the comment section once I put a comment in there and check out another of our homemaking stories or our Homemaking with Purpose shows. And I will see you guys next time. And let's see. Okay, I think that is it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.